Noted. Now, do
Okay.
you think that we should listen more to release time seminary teachers or to early morning seminary teachers?
Early morning seminary for sure.
They have the upper hand.
In my opinion, because they're doing it as I get in all kinds of trouble. They are doing it as service, right? Somebody gets
Mhm.
called to be an early morning seminary teacher, and they're
Mhm.
putting in 20 hours a week of just service for
Yeah.
that calling,
Yeah.
and that's different than when you do it for a job.
But they don't have the religious education.
No, that neither do seminary teachers have
Yes, they
religious.
do.
No, they don't. They don't.
Okay. Are you sure?
I'm pretty
They have
sure.
to take classes.
No.
Yes,
I've
they
taken those
do.
I've taken those classes, Melissa. They don't teach you anything
Uh-huh.
about the religion. They don't even
Matt.
they barely teach you classroom management.
Okay. Awesome. Well, then here's my next headline. Okay, here we go. Scriptures in one hand, a donut in the other. The costs of keeping LDS seminary students awake. Big deal, little deal, no deal. Three, two, one.
Big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's big deal, but I love this take on the situation, which is basically this, okay? We've got a lot of seminary teachers who are early morning, like you said, they're just serving. This is their calling in the church.
Mhm.
And for the love of heaven, they are trying to keep those students engaged. And guess what? It can cost a pretty penny because you got to
Mhm.
bring food. Everybody knows this. And
Yes.
there's other costs too. But yeah, what do you think, Matt? Well, first of all, I will say as a teacher, absolutely food is the key to success.
Yes.
Undoubtedly. Every Monday, I have a meeting with my yearbook staff. You better believe I'm bringing home baked goods every Monday because guess what that gets them to do? Focus and frankly, trust me. Like, listen, food equals trust sometimes. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
Teenagers love food.
Mhm. They do.
Yeah.
I was an early morning seminary teacher, I think for 2 years. Maybe it was for more than that. I can't remember. And honestly, Melissa, it's my most favorite calling I've ever had
Yeah, I
because
bet.
you're just teaching the kids in your ward. Maybe they're sometimes from another ward or something like that.
Mhm.
But this is what I would do. I would go to some grocery store the day after Halloween and buy up all this candy that was like 50% off candy. And I would put it in this huge like bin. And
Yeah.
then on Fridays, every Friday, we would play some kind of like scripture bingo or some kind of scripture master or whatever. And you give them candy. But I also give them candy when they came in, give them candy when they
Yeah.
leave because candy is what keeps
Because
them there.
candy is love.
Hmm.
Candy is love. Okay, so Matt, did you have to spend a lot of money out of pocket?
I did. Well, whatever that cost. Yeah, I was they would give me, there was a little bit of a budget.
So,
So there,
according to this article, the church stipend, I don't know how this works in word to word,
yeah.
but the church is supposed to provide $50 per teacher per year.
Yep, that's about what it was.
That's not very much.
Well, that's
You
true.
were
So this
bringing,
was
yeah.
10 years ago. $50 went a little further. I
Hmm.
think a dozen eggs in California right now is like $13 for
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
dozen.
Yeah.
So $50 would buy you 5 donuts.
Hmm. Yeah.
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 Well, so there is
Listen,
that element of it, right?
yeah.
But if you're a wise teacher, you can try and encourage them to bring the donuts themselves, right?
Sure. There's definitely workarounds. I
Yeah.
don't think this is a big problem where it's like, oh no, this one calling has to pay a lot of money. I mean, if that's a problem, I think you should bring it up to your bishop or to your leaders, and I think they would solve it. I
Yeah.
absolutely think they would solve it for you. Like me, we host dinners for our YSA kids
Yeah.
once a month. And is that expensive?
Sure.
Sure. But I don't mind doing it. But I'm not saying that like you should have to not mind doing it in order to have the calling. I'm just saying like our church has money. Honestly, if it's a financial cost, just talk to your leadership. I promise they'll solve it. But I
Yes.
100% encourage feeding seminary early morning students. It's a
Yeah,
great
so when
tool.
I was a YSA bishop, one of my counselors was a student. And
Hmm.
so, the bishopric does have young people over, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'm a student, I can't afford like this. And I was like, look,
Right.
we'll find money in the budget. Like, do what
Yeah.
you're gonna do, and we'll find a way to in the
Yeah.
budget to
We'll
pay for
support
it.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my
Anyways, I think.
opinion,
Go
all
ahead.
seminary in the church should be early morning seminary. There should be
I
no
agree.
release time.
I agree. I think release time, listen, I'm not mad. I think those teachers are doing a great job. But To me, in Utah, it's like farming out your religious teaching to somebody else, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh, okay, yes, seminary is important. It completely is. But guess what I do as a parent? I say like, oh, good, that's getting taken care of during the school day, right?
Mhm.
Like somebody's teaching them this lesson. That's great. It's being taken care of. They're memorizing scriptures, like all that stuff. I think they do a great job, but I do think it's ridiculous that it's a released hour from school. I think it's crazy.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
feel the same about, religion classes too. Those should all just be institute classes.
Yeah, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's our soapbox, but shout out to all of those of you who are doing it. You're doing great work. Good job.